You know, when I decided to take a teensy tiny, short little break from posting videos and from keeping up with PC hardware, I had no idea I'd eventually be coming back to such a monumental shitstorm. Last time I remember the market being this bleak was when mining was still a thing. And man, are things bleak. Case in point, the RX970 XT, a GPU that was praised by almost everyone as being a pretty decent value. Enough so that I was actually considering grabbing one for myself when it first launched. But that was more than a year and many new data centers ago. Now the market is so bad that a stick of RAM has a better financial outlook than most of us do. But hey, some of us still need good gear to game on, and the RX970 XT, specifically the ASUS TUF gaming version we're looking at today, might still deserve to be on your radar. But first, a reminder that if you do decide to overspend on a RAM kit or any other overpriced part, you might as well do it via my affiliate links down below. You'll still be paying more than you should, but at least you'll be supporting the channel while you're at it. Now, for anyone unfamiliar with the 9070 XT, AMD launched it as a big old middle finger to NVIDIA's RTX 5070 Ti, supposedly offering very similar real-world gaming performance, meaning exceptional 1440p at high frame rates and impressive native 4K gaming. And best of all, it undercut NVIDIA's offering by $150. The chip comes packed with 4096 shading units with a boost clock of 2970 MHz. It features 64 dedicated RT cores, 128 AI accelerators, comes strapped with 16 gigs of GDDR6 running at 20 gigabits per second with a 256-bit interface. And it's a bit of a power guzzler, maxing out at around 304 watts. As for the TUF gaming version, it takes that GPU, boosts core clocks even more, pushing beyond 3 GHz, and encases it in the iconic TUF gaming shell. And if my previous experience with the TUF cards is anything to go by, that shell should be more than capable of taming the 9070 XT. Being just over 3 slots thick and with the other dimensions to match, the card is on the larger side, and it's definitely not wasted space. Along with a generous amount of heat dissipation area thanks to being such a chunky boy, the card also features 3 of ASUS's Axial Tech fans and a ventilated backplate for pass-through airflow. And just in case the temps were even thinking about creeping up, the card also ships with an improved heat spreader and a phase change thermal pad. Following the TUF formula, the card also has a large focus on reliability and stability, with premium components, a coated PCB, and my favorite get out of bricking free card, a dual BIOS switch. Holes-wise, we're looking at 3 DisplayPort 2.1 slots along with a single HDMI 2.1 port, and 3 8-pin power headers to supply the juice. As expected from a card in the TUF range, the 9070 XT seems like a very capable card that looks and feels really solid, though I'm still not the biggest fan of the military look ASUS is going for. But hey, at least it has a bit of RGB flair going for it. Now, earlier I mentioned that the 9070 XT was praised for being a great value at launch, but that things might have changed due to the current state of the market. Well, things have definitely changed alright. At launch, the 9070 XT was priced very competitively at $600, while Nvidia was offering the 5070 Ti for $750. Pretty good deal. Now though, just browsing online stores, it looks like the average price for the 9070 XT lands somewhere between $700 and $800. An annoying uptick, but as a whole, not too bad. Especially considering Nvidia sellers seem to have lost the plot entirely, pricing the 5070 Ti at around $1,000. That same affliction though seems to have befallen ASUS sellers, as our TUF gaming version here is currently selling for a whopping $990 or 19,300 Rand here in South Africa. It's certainly not the only 9070 XT price around that point, but when you can get a 5070 Ti for around the same price and other 9070 XT models can be found for around $700, I hope it goes without saying that this is an incredibly bad deal. But just in case the madness can be cured at some point soon, we should probably see what the card is actually capable of. So, let's get to it. For testing, I used the Ryzen 7 7800 XT running at stock settings, paired with 32 gigs of Gale Evo 5 running at 6000 MHz with CL32 timings. For the sake of my own sanity, I won't be making charts for all of my 1080p results, as almost all of them show a clear CPU bottleneck, so we'll start off with our 2 synthetic benchmarks in the form of Unigine Superposition and 3DMark's Time Spy. In the former, the card lagged just behind the 4080 Super, while in the latter, it just about tops my charts. As for gaming, we'll kick things off at 1440p, the resolution this card is built for and should excel at. And looking at the numbers, it does just that. In all but Alan Wake 2, the card easily managed frame rates within the hundreds, even at high or near max quality settings. It shows very meaningful uplifts over the cards in AMD's past generations, while also trading blows with the 4080 Super. Overall, in my charts, the 9070 XT lands just between the 4070 Ti Super and the 4080 Super, being about 9% faster than the former, while trailing just behind the latter by about 2.3%. Jumping to 4K, we can see that even though the card was never meant to be a top performer here, it's still an absolutely solid choice for it. Alan Wake 2 again proves to be an outlier, with it being the only game where the card couldn't manage to hit 60 FPS. While in the rest of the stack, it either hits just above that target or outright blasts past it in the majority of titles tested, all while maintaining a relatively smooth experience as shown in the 1% lows. Adding all of the FPS numbers up, at 4K, the 9070 XT leaves the 4070 Ti Super in the dust, beating it by around 21.5%. And when compared to the 4080 Super, instead of it trailing behind it by 2%, the 9070 XT this time comes out ahead by 2%. Really impressive stuff. But now it's time to move on to the section of the review where AMD usually starts sweating: RT performance. This is an area where Team Red have been playing catch up for many years now, and with the 9070 XT, they once again promised to have gained some real ground. And you know what? It looks like they weren't kidding. The 9070 XT actually manages to keep up with the 4080 Super in more than a few titles, providing a more than playable experience in all of the games tested, minus Alan Wake 2 of course. And its upscaling and frame gen performance has clearly also gotten a nice little boost while it's at it. Nvidia obviously still holds the crown when it comes to RT, but this is a promising showing all the same. As for our TUF Gaming's performance, I saw it maxing out at a core clock of 3307 MHz with an average of 3168 MHz, while pushing power draw to 303 watts. And surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, the card more than managed to keep temps in check, with our GPU only hitting 56 degrees C, with fans maxing out at 1985 RPM, a speed low enough for the fans to barely be perceptible over the noise floor of the rest of the system. Pushing fans to their max RPM, the GPU reached a steady state of just 41 degrees, the lowest I've seen in my testing in years. So, clearly what we have here is an extremely capable chip and a very impressive graphics card in general from ASUS. Unfortunately, because of the current state of the market and some baffling pricing shenanigans, there's absolutely no way I could recommend this particular card. If we were only talking about a mild price hike compared to other 9070 XT models, a case could have definitely been made. The overclock, the stellar cooling performance, and the TUF Gaming pedigree alone might have tipped the scales, but not at $990. As for the 9070 XT more generally though, well, that's a different story. The chip kicks a lot of butts. It crushes high frame rate 1440p, is perfectly capable of high fidelity 4K gaming, it's a decent step up in terms of RT performance, and the 16 gigs of VRAM provides some decent future proofing. And even though most models are going for around $100 more than they did at launch, almost all of them represent a much better value than the direct competition from Nvidia. Sure, the likes of the 5070 Ti should outperform it in some titles and will certainly outclass it in most RT scenarios, but not by nearly enough to justify an almost $300 premium. Even when you take Nvidia's superior software into account, that pricing is still absolutely absurd. And that about wraps it up. If you were looking at grabbing a 9070 XT a year ago, it's still a pretty damn good option, all things considered. Just don't get the massively overpriced one in this video, unless you can find it for around $750 or so. And yeah, I'll catch you all in the next one. For those of you who made it this far into the video, thanks! And remember to buy all the things via my affiliate links down below to help me out. Cheers!